Had the very difficult task of reconciling two groups who hated each other. There's no easy way to say it. They hated each other, and he established the Truth and Reconciliation Commission so that people could account for the hate crimes that had occurred during apartheid. And he managed to do that. He managed to get people to understand each other. He managed to get people to empathize with each other. And now, on what would have been his 100th birthday, to be a Mandela Washington Fellow and to be named one of the 100 young Mandelas of the future back in South Africa is such an incredible honor, because from my childhood, I've always been so inspired by the things that he did. In 2013, Nelson Mandela passed away, and our country went into a crisis because he had been the beacon of hope, and he had been this representation of what a rainbow nation should be. But what were we going to do without him? In 2015, we had xenophobic attacks in our country where South Africans were killing Africans from other countries. It was like a repeat of what had happened before, but worse because we knew that it was wrong. We knew that it had not worked before. So why were we repeating our past mistakes? In 2015, I wrote a book called The Sin in My Blackness, and I spoke about xenophobia and racism and a lot of the issues that the country was facing at the time. And this first poem was a letter, in a way, trying to understand what it was about blackness that was so wrong. The sin in my blackness. My blackness is red sirens, gunshots 2 blocks from your block of flats, women on the street in their gowns screaming, "What happened? What happened?" My blackness mimics tragedy in small towns. My blackness cannot be contained. You tried all those years ago and failed. Look, your hands are stained. My blackness is flashing lights, red tape outside your house, orange cones on the road that leads to reconciliation. But you walk here and find me waiting, burdened with the weight of waiting, but you never come close enough. And so I have to ask, does my blackness offend you? The color of my skin, the texture of my hair, do these things offend you? Do they make you question what God was trying to do when he created me as opposed to you? And when we meet, does my blackness earn me a frown? Or worse, a half-hearted, lopsided smile that lasts for a while and then disappears? For years, I tried to hide my blackness too. I tried to hide my hair. I plaited it tightly against my scalp like a forced hug, and I covered it with hair that looks like yours. Soft, straight, sleek, sinless. And then I realized that your mistake is not that you do not look like me, but that you showed me the sin in my blackness. This poem deals with my own identity crisis as a black person, trying to understand where I fit in. And I had very difficult conversations with fellow South Africans. But then I had to get to a deeper conversation with Black South Africans when it came to xenophobic attacks Because if there was one thing that united us as Black South Africans was that we didn't understand why white people hated us. But now, if we were killing each other amongst ourselves, we had to now understand where that was coming from. This poem is called Betrayal. We betrayed our kin when we burnt alive our brother because he was birthed on foreign soil. We betrayed our skin when a man's charred remains became our own because we could not accept him in his wholeness. His skin was too charcoal, his hair was too peppercorn, his Africa was too north.